Good evening. Welcome to the Planning and Zoning Commission meeting for August the 1st, 2024. I'd like to welcome everyone, and our first order of business tonight will be our public hearing, and we only have one tonight, the MK Ranch Longhorn Bar and Grill conditional use, the CUP-98. Mr. Burks, would you bring us up to speed on that?
Okay, this is the MK Ranch Longhorn Bar and Grill, CUP 88 and SUP, XP 175. Project name is MK Ranch LLC Bar and Grill. The project's going to be located at 1000 Shops at Warrenton, Suite number 2. It's on the northeast end of the complex, north side of Rural King. MK Ranch seeks a conditional use permit and site plan approval to establish a 9,200 square foot bar and grill. The C3 district designate the bar, tavern, and nightclub as conditional use and outlines in the Appendix A as of the zoning code, and grill would be a permitted use there, so they need the conditional use for the bar. Okay.
Is there anyone here tonight that would like to speak on behalf of or against the MK Ranch Longhorn Bar and Grill? Hearing none, we'll close our public hearings for this evening and open up our regular planning and zoning meeting. First order of business will be our minutes from the July the 9th meeting. Everybody's had a chance to peruse those.
Make a motion to approve the minutes for the July 9th meeting as submitted.
Second that.
Motion by Mr. Costello, second by Mr. Cooper to approve the minutes from the July 9th meeting as submitted. Any other questions or comments? Roll call vote.
Mr. Miller?
Yes.
Mr. Costello?
Yes.
Mr. Cullum?
Abstain, I was absent.
Mr. Barton?
Yes.
Mr. Durbin?
Yes.
Mr. Cooper?
Yes.
Mr. Dieterman?
Abstain.
Mr. Cornell?
I'll abstain, I was absent.
And Mrs. Cullum is absent, and Mrs. Madden is absent.
Motion passes 5-3 with 2 absent. Actually passes 5-0 with 3 abstentions and 2 absent. Next order of business would be, and we're going to go ahead and start public comments tonight. Are there any public comments this evening? Hearing none. Oh. You had step to the podium and state your name, sir, for the record, and then we'll.
I was curious when they were all.
Oh, that'll come up in a little while. Thank you. Hearing no public comments for this evening, we'll talk about the revised public hearing policy on the agenda tonight, and being put up on the. We had a meeting. Mr. Weber, you want to talk a little bit about that, or would you like me to just kind of go over the new rule types of things and then address anything from there?
I'm fine either way, whatever your preference is.
Okay, I'll go ahead and, so our new public hearing comments procedure is going to be, we'll start with the public hearing that we just had. Starting next month, we'll have the P&Z Commission Board of Adjustments introduced and read the agenda item. The city staff will then present a brief description of details. The applicant at that point will have 10 minutes to present the agenda item. Then the public will have 5 minutes to talk, and with a 30-second wrap-up if they've overstated their 5-minute time. Public is not allowed to directly question the applicant or the city staff or the commission and board of adjustment at that time. There will be no interaction back and forth. After the public is done speaking, the applicant representative has 5 minutes to address the issues, concerns brought up by the public if they choose to do so. Then as far as the public comments, with no public hearing, the public has 5 minutes with a 30 seconds wrap up, and then the dismissal of that speaker. The public again is not allowed to directly question the applicant, city staff, commission, or board of aldermen. There will not be any interaction at this time. Then the P&Z Commission Board of Aldermen introduce and read the agenda item. The city staff will present the agenda item giving brief descriptions, and then the applicant has 10 minutes to present their agenda item and address the issues concerned brought up by the public comments or the Board of Aldermen Commission discussion. And that's it. Mr. Weber, you'd like to add anything to that, sir?
Yeah, I'll just make a few comments.
Thank you.
Part of the goal here was to make a differentiation between the public comment and public hearing, and then set set what are common or normal boundaries. So the purpose of public comment is exactly what it sounds like. It's members of the public providing comments on matters of public importance. These aren't town hall meetings. Public comment is not an evidentiary type hearing, right? Public comment is just presenting things to the commission or the Board of Aldermen for their information. One reason we don't have, during public comment or public hearings, that we don't have the back and forth is because that can be used to take up someone's time, right? If we're allotting people a certain amount of time, we don't want to take it up by responding to a question for 30 seconds.
Right.
So after those are finished, after a public comment is finished or a public hearing, that may be an appropriate time to respond or make a comment as a commission member. But again, it's not meant to be kind of a town hall type forum. For public hearings, those are more evidentiary. And again, we have time frames to keep it running smoothly, but that's also a time for the applicant and also the public to provide their evidence or their testimony about a matter. And then after the public hearing is closed, the commission deliberates. The commission can call people back forward to answer questions, or the commission itself can answer questions or can ask questions of staff. But we also don't necessarily want a situation where people are arguing or approaching each other in a crowd. So if all the comments are directed forward, then that tends to keep a meeting run more smoothly.
Right. Very well stated, and thank you for your time and input on that. So what are we doing at this point?
Approve it.
We're going to approve this new policy tonight with a roll call vote.
Revised policy.
Yep. Anybody else from the board have a question or comment to Mr. Weber or Mr. Burks?
I guess my only comment is that I understand all of the points that you made. My concern is that it does shut down the communication between the citizens and the board, and I feel like we're addressing an issue that hasn't been an issue. So that's my only concern. Anytime
Well-
we start limiting,
So it doesn't shut down the communication. It separates it out, right? So during the public comment or public hearing, you're not intruding on their time.
Right.
But once that is over, a public hearing is a good example, and maybe this restaurant or bar and grill is a good example. If someone had been here, they have their time to provide
Right.
testimony. Then when the topic comes up again, if you say, hey, I wonder where their lights are going to be directed or how late they're going to be open, then you still have that communication at that point.
We can call them back up.
But you're not intruding on their
5 minutes.
evidentiary and testimony time. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I understand what you're saying.
Okay.
All right, thank you. All right, I'll entertain a motion.
Motion to accept the changes on the,
The public hearing policy.
public hearing policy.
Thank you, Mr. Cooper.
Thank you.
Second.
I have a motion by Mr. Cooper, second by Mr. Cullum to approve the revised public hearing policy as presented. Any other questions or comments? Roll call vote.
Mr. Costello?
Yes.
Mr. Cullum?
Yes.
Mr. Barton?
Yes.
Mr. Durbin?
Yes.
Mr. Cooper?
Yes.
Mr. Dieterman?
Yes.
Mr. Cornell?
No.
Mr. Miller?
Yes.
Motion passes 7-1 with 2 absent. Our next order of business will be the Westwood Farm Subdivision Final Plat, SUBD-125. Mr. Burks?
Okay. The developer is going to be Westwood Farms Development, LLC. Location's going to be 1106 Steinhagen Road. It's the Westwood Farms Plat 1 recorded plat. It's going to be Phase 1, the SUBD 125. It's going to be for a total of 21.82 acres. Current zoning is going to be R2, medium density residential family. The reason for the request is to build the first phase of 37 lots out of the total 66 single-family lots approved on January 16th, 2024, the Board of Aldermen meeting, ordinance 2834. Per my report, all criteria for this record plat have been met and are consistent with our current code. The engineers here, if you guys have any questions, do you have any for me?
Anybody on the board have a question? for either the engineer or Mr. Burks? Entertain a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve Westwood Farm subdivision, final plat SUBD 125.
I'll second it.
Have a motion by Mr. Miller, second by Mr. Durbin to approve the Westwood Farm subdivision final plat SUBD-125 as submitted. Any other questions or comments? Roll call vote.
Mr. Cullum?
Yes.
Mr. Barton?
Yes.
Mr. Durbin?
Yes.
Mr. Cooper?
Yes.
Mr. Dieterman?
Yes.
Mr. Cornell?
Yes.
Mr. Miller?
Yes.
Mr. Costello?
Yes.
Motion passes 8-0 with 2 absent. Next order of business will be the MK Ranch Longhorn Bar and Grill, conditional use and site plan CUP 98 and SP-175. Mr. Burks?
Okay, the developer's going to be MK Ranch. Location's going to be Shops at Warrenton in the northeast end of the complex. This is a conditional use and site plan for a bar and grill. The building size is 9,200 square feet. Current zoning is C3, commercial zoning, highway commercial. Reason for the request is the grill is permitted in the C3 zoning. However, the bar requires a conditional use permit. Per my report, all criteria for the site plan and conditional use have been met and are consistent with our current code. The applicant is here to answer any questions. Do you have any for me?
And this was the one that we had approved before at Bruni Parkway?
At the Bruni Parkway, correct.
At this time, they're just changing it to basically the bar and grill. They're
We're
not
just
doing
moving
the other
down
stuff.
to the Warrenton shops.
Right.
So this plan doesn't include the sand volleyball, that kind of thing, is strictly the barn?
No outside modifications.
Sure.
Make sure you state your name for the record, sir.
Mike Ebersol.
How about it? Thanks for being here.
Thank you.
So scaling back the plans for
The site just doesn't work with the volleyball as we had originally planned, correct?
what are the proposed hours?
11 a.m. to, just depending on the day, during the week, 11 a.m. to probably midnight, probably on Friday, Saturday till 1 a.m.
And there should be no effect on residential to the city's.
No, not in that area.
And the other question that came up tonight, what's your proposed timeline on maybe starting this place?
Sometime December of this year.
Sometime this year, at the end of the year. Okay, thank you for your question, sir.
Which unit do you intend to occupy?
Uh,
It's the old Nike. It's the
It
old
is,
Nike
okay.
store. Correct.
And, one of the things that we've seen at the outlet center over the years with eating establishments in particular is that there's a single central restroom facility. None of them have had.
Not at this one.
I'm sorry?
I said, won't be at this one. We have proposed for five stalls in the male, 5 stalls in the women's.
Okay. That, for an establishment the size that you're looking to operate, I think it's important to have that on site, so I'm glad to hear
Yes,
that.
sir.
So my question was maybe to the city staff as opposed to the proprietor here. Hopefully, he has a lot of traffic and business is good. What are the provisions for, my concern is for the parking, the lighting out there. Some of the parking lot has deteriorated. What are the provisions for not only that facility, but any facility? Once it's approved and it's put in, what are the modes of maintaining or ensuring that those are maintained?
Would that be in the code enforcement? Be on the code enforcement side for those items?
It would be the responsibility of the owner of the mall, correct?
Correct.
I understand.
think.
Yeah, I understand that's their responsibility. I'm wondering about.
From the city spend.
Yeah, if there's a routine city inspection or how that comes about. I don't know that it's a concern right now, but I could certainly see that being a concern.
I know when I was code enforcement, any items like that I with notice on commercial or residential buildings. I would
Thank you.
bring that up.
I appreciate that.
I'm excited for you.
Yeah, good luck.
I have one small little
And the
thing.
community, yeah.
I don't know if this is the right time to say this or not, but the word Longhorns has been dropped from the name. It was dropped in our application. It is just MK Ranch Bar and Grill. I don't know if that makes a difference on our conditional use permit or not. I just want to make sure it's corrected.
Right, it will be
Thank
from
you.
here forth. Thank you for.
I will correct that before it goes to
Thank you.
to the board.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Good luck.
Merry
Hey,
Christmas.
good luck.
Anybody else have any questions for Mr. Burks or the proprietor?
To validate, do we need to vote on the
Separately?
site plan separate and then the conditional use, correct?
Yes, please.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the site plan 175 for MK Ranch Bar and Grill as presented.
Second. Hang on, do we want to do that one first or this conditional use?
Does it matter?
Let's do the site plan first.
Okay. And that's what he just did.
Second that.
Mr. Cullum and second by Mr. Cooper to approve the site plan -175 for the MK Ranch Bar and Grill. Any other questions? All in favor? Oh, I'm sorry. Roll call vote.
Mr. Barton?
Yes.
Mr. Durbin?
Yes.
Mr. Cooper?
Yes.
Mr. Dederman?
Yes.
Mr. Cornell?
Yes.
Mr. Miller?
Yes.
Mr. Costello?
Yes.
Mr. Cullum?
Yes.
Motion passes 8-0 with 2 absent. And these will all come in front of the Board of Aldermen on
The 20th.
20th?
We do need to do the conditional use now.
Yes, I know, but I'm just saying.
Just
It
check.
is the 20th? I know, you're staying on top of me. Very wise move there. Now we'll entertain a motion for the MK Ranch conditional use permit -98.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the conditional use proposition permit 98 for MK Ranch Bar and Grill as presented.
Second.
We have a motion by Mr. Cullum, second by Mr. Miller to approve the MK Ranch Bar and Grill conditional use -98 as submitted. Any other questions or comments? Roll call vote.
Mr. Durbin?
Yes.
Mr. Cooper?
Yes.
Mr. Dederman?
Yes.
Mr. Cornell?
Yes.
Mr. Miller?
Yes.
Mr. Costello?
Yes.
Mr. Cullum?
Yes.
Mr. Barton?
Yes, motion passes 8-0. And that'll also come in front of the board on August the 20th to the Board of Aldermen. Thank you, sir. Next order of business will be the new Daniel Boone Elementary School Site Plan -177.
Okay.
Mr. Burks.
All right, the developer is going to be the Warren County R3 School District. Location is the 21.82 acres on the west side of Highway 47, north of Ash Road. The site plan is for a new Daniel Boone Elementary School, SP 177. Building size is going to be a one-story, 105,300 square foot building. Current zoning is AG, Agricultural Reserve. The reason for the request is to build the new Daniel Boone Elementary School. Per my report, all criteria for the site plan have been met and are consistent with our current code. The engineer, Bart Corman's here, he can answer any questions on this project.
Do you want us to do the waiver?
For the record, Bart Corman, Lewis and Beatty.
Thank you, Mr. Corman.
I also have Matt with Henner and Associates and Greg Clinton Smith, who's superintendent of schools, here to answer any questions that you have. I'll just highlight that total classrooms, including like special ed, is 49 total classrooms with full build out. Depending on budget, a couple of the wings might get shortened up, but for this site plan is full build out, so that way it's all approved. So if anybody has any questions there later on, if it gets shortened in the process, you can, wanted to clarify that for everybody. We're working with MoDOT on access on 47 and how to do that properly, and then we'll have buses access in Ash Road to separate the cars and the buses, and I'll take any questions anybody may have.
What are they doing for the Ash Road buses? Are they doing any lane? Are they adding any lanes, or is it going to stay the same? Or
No, we're not touching Ash Road other than our entrance right there at the top of the hill there. So it'll be it'll be just buses exiting out of there and then coming in there and turning in, so.
Will there be plenty of room for the buses to get in without stopping and blocking the traffic?
Yeah, I'm gonna make sure that that entrance is a little wider than normal, because I got that power pole there, so I can't do a big radius, so I gotta make it a little wider so that they can swing through there.
How about 47? I guess they're going to have a turn lane on 47 for going into the school?
So the proposed, what we've proposed to MoDOT is to actually put a stoplight there at that intersection. That's what the school would like to do.
Yes.
But MoDOT's not necessarily said that that's a great idea and have signed off on that yet. But we're still doing the traffic counts, and we've sent that up and going through the bureaucracy of MoDOT to hopefully get that done. So that's their plan, is to have the light there. If MoDOT says that that's not warranted, then obviously we won't do a light. Most likely it'll require a turn lane, knowing the traffic peaks there. I think it will. But so that would be kind of the worst case scenario, but the school would like to actually spend the money on the infrastructure, put a light in there for a lot of reasons. One, to regulate that flow in and out. Two, with a stoplight, it helps kids crossing 47 from Andorra. So, I mean, there's a lot of reasons why the school wants to do a full light there, but putting a light in where MoDOT doesn't think that they need a light creates some things, just because they got to go through the protocols that's got to be done. So we're working through all that, but we have confirmed that MoDOT is okay with that access location, which is what we are always wanting to make sure we got taken care of before I come to this board. But the detail of that will be worked out with MoDOT.
Is the proposed access directly across from Nina Drive?
Yeah.
What's the proposed starting date? Do you have an estimate of?
So for construction or for classroom? For construction, we'd like to start this fall. It's pretty aggressive because we've got to get through these meetings. Still got to kind of get through MoDOT. But the original schedule is to start this fall with grading and getting going from there, and then opening up 27-28 school year. So, yeah.
I know with the, I have a hard time with reading some of the grading and the slopes. But where will, with all the movement of the earth here, which way is it going to slope away from the school? I say that because I know Ashland Meadows, has water standing issues, and so does some of the Ash Road. So I was just curious as to what.
Sure. So we got a stormwater detention pond just south of our MoDOT entrance there, because that water drains towards the front, towards 47. So we got a pond there. So basically the front car parking lot will be collected there and go to that pond, slow down before it hits the MoDOT ditch there. The school building and stuff have roof drains, tie-ins, and drains coming out to the west and then headed south. And so we're going to have basically a stormwater basin right there at Ash Road, where the little walk bridge is, at Ashland Meadows. So we'll be discharging into that draw there, but we'll have a pond there. So what that does is it does let you know that basically there's not going to be a building close to Ash Road ever, because that's where the stormwater pond's going to be, except for maybe closer to the bus access. But so the draw that's got the woods and brush and stuff like that, that is basically to be left as is for the most part, and we're just collecting all the water from the school itself into that detention pond. So this part that drains to the north naturally will still drain to the north naturally, because it's proposed to still stay grass. So.
Thank you.
And correct me if I'm wrong, but I know that Dr. Klingensmith has wanted the school district to be a good neighbor and has met with all the people anybody that wanted to meet with them from the Ashland Meadows complex out there, taking their input and actually at the board meetings instituting some of the changes that they had requested. So I know that the school board has, and Dr. Klingsmith has done a great job with that, with the architects and so forth, so correct?
Correct, and one of my instructions was to minimize any tree clearing on that west property line. I will have to do some down there in that southwest corner, because that's where the stormwater goes, and that's where the sanitary sewer is. So I will have to clear a corridor for that piping. It's just, that's what it is. But we are preserving as many trees there as possible.
So you've got some stormwater that's going to run east towards 47,
Yes.
and that's going to be collected at the detention. And then you've got some that will run south and west.
That is correct, with another detention pond.
So once those are, from time to time, those are overrun naturally, because they, by design, can only handle so much water. I know, my understanding is just about everything north of 70 ends up in Big Creek at some point, right? And
Yeah, eventually, yeah.
yeah, so, my primary concern is the Andorra Estates subdivision. That, ever since that subdivision was built out, you're well aware,
Yeah.
I think it's the southeast end of that subdivision has had enormous runoff issues, and the residents in those locations in particular. So does the water that can't be detained end up at that end of Andorra Estates, or where do we anticipate the water ultimately goes when it leaves the proposed school site?
Sure. So the southeast corner on 47 there hits that MoDOT ditch there, heads parallel to 47 down to that box culvert at the middle of Ash Road intersection that does a L-shaped box culvert. So it actually, when it crosses 47, it's on the south side of Andorra right there. So that's where that water goes. The water to the southwest crosses Ash Road right there at the little walk bridge and heads south to that draw that goes through Brady's property, and then ends up about 300, 400 feet south of Ash Road when it crosses 47 at that box culvert there. And so that's where that water goes. So that, and both of those have got a pond to the north, drains to the north, and I don't even know if that goes into Zoom Homes Field there, and I don't know where it goes from there. To be honest, I'm assuming it goes down towards Township, but I'd have to look at a map to be more familiar with that.
You think it goes towards Township?
On the north side.
On the north side.
Okay, on the north side.
Yeah,
I would think so, on the north side.
Okay.
I think it does, but don't hold me to that one, because like I say, I haven't seen I didn't pay attention to the topo map that direction lately.
I think it's an important thing, and I know that the detention calculations are always based upon what code requires. Facilities like this obviously have a lot of impervious surfaces, and I just hate the thought that somebody that's already got a yard that tends to be wet when we have wet weather, and we've had a lot of it, has a situation that's even worse if this isn't routed away. So I guess we can only trust that it's not going to make a bad problem worse.
I do like the fact that we're, hindsight 2020, things got a little bit congested with centralizing all of our schools on the south end. I do like that. You may or may not be aware that there are some traffic problems at the end of the school day at both Warrior Ridge and Daniel Boone, congesting all of those city streets. And that overflow, right? The parking lots and the traffic pattern through that just can't handle it. What kind of provisions have you made to ensure that that isn't a problem here?
Sure. So early on in the concept stages, the architect put this together on how this is going to lay out. And so if you theoretically just drive up off of 47 up the main entrance coming in to where you're facing the front of the school, you're going to then turn right, okay? And if you're going to get there at 3 o'clock and wait for your kids, you're going to go to the end of that, and then you're going to snake in and out of that parking lot around each way, and then you're going to come back up the hill right along the little access road to the water tower, and then you're going to come up in front of the school where the handicap parking spot is. And then after you pick up your child, you'll head south, and then you'll hook a left, and then back a right and head to 47. So we'll be stacked within that parking lot. We'll have those folks that are there to pick up kids stacked up that way.
So it may be a mess on the parking lot, but it's not going to be a mess out onto the roadway.
That's our goal. Can't guarantee it, because I know drop off and pickup is crazy, but we've stacked as many as we can stack within the site the way we got it set up. So.
What grades will this building,
Just be K through 5, I believe. Yeah. Yep.
Any other questions? Hearing none, we'll entertain a motion at this time.
I make a motion to accept site plan 177.
Second that.
We have a motion by Mr. Detterman, second by Mr. Cooper, to approve the new Daniel Boone Elementary School Site Plan -177. Any other questions or comments?
I hope you studied it real well because I live right there. The traffic and all our water constantly on a dry day. My sump pump goes on. And I hope it all works out right.
Yep.
Because it ain't good right now. Anything that's good, make it worse.
Any other questions or comments from the board? Roll call vote.
Mr. Cooper?
Yes.
Mr. Dieterman?
Yes.
Mr. Cornell?
Yes.
Mr. Miller?
yes.
Mr. Costello?
Yes.
Mr. Cullum?
Yes.
Mr. Barton?
Yes.
Mr. Durbin?
Yes.
Motion passes 8-0 with 2 absent, and that'll come in front of the Board of Aldermen on August 20th.
No,
No,
won't.
Mr.
No, well not. That is, I'm sorry.
Does not go.
That is it. Thank you.
Yeah, tonight's your last night.
Yeah,
it?
that's it.
No second meeting?
Didn't I tell you that?
No.
Was a surprise.
How you have to adjust your bill?
Yeah. We'll cut your bill in half. Hey, close the meeting and turn it over to Mr. Burks
We have nothing on the agenda for next month, so no meeting at this time.
at this time. Anybody else have anything for the good of the group? Entertain a motion to adjourn.
So move.
Motion by Mr. Cornell, second by Mr. Cullum to adjourn. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Thanks for coming out. Appreciate y'all. Have a blessed week.